Teenagers, they have a lot of potential. They are confident, they are cool, they have a lot of energy. But are we handling them nicely? We need a great coach. And here today, I'm super blessed because we have Emer with us, Emer O'Donnell. She's a great teen coach. She has a lot of strategies from transformation to psychology. She's going to share with us all of it. Welcome, Emer.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for accepting the invite. And life is all about collaboration, contribution, and spreading smiles. So here's a small initiative to spread smiles and smile together. So what are your top secrets, top tips to handle teenagers?
Okay, I think one of the top tips for parents is to realize that they look like they're all grown up on the outside, but they're actually not on the inside. They have brains that basically are 80% mature. And so there's lots of functioning that we think they should be able to manage that they're not managing because their brains are being rewired. And a lot of the activity that doesn't get rewired till the very end is in the frontal lobe. And they're really important things for like emotional regulation, for planning, intuition, self-awareness. And it's all these things as adults we expect our teenagers just to be able to do. And we've got to remember that they really can struggle to connect the dots, especially because we live in a world now that's so noisy. There's so much data overload, and just to have the time to find the silence and to just tune into who you are. I think our teenagers don't get that anymore. And so we have to cut them a bit of slack.
And we need you so that we find calm in the noisy world. And so beautifully said that the prefrontal cortex is developing and it takes time. And we are expecting them to behave like wise adults. We forget our days. So moving ahead, what are some tips if you want to give to the teachers and school management, grade 9, grade 10, 11 and 12?
Okay, so I think the most thing we can ever do, whether we're as an adult in a teenager's life, is to focus on the outcome we want. Okay, and also be aware of our own emotional levels, because we have emotions that will, what I call our enforce mode. So that's when we get angry, we get annoyed, we feel guilty, all those things. And when we operate in that emotional level, then that's what we create around us. So if we want to have better relationships with our teenagers, we need to move into what I would call courage and above, and understanding you are the adult in the room, and teenagers so need a good adult. The research absolutely proves if they have a good adult in their lives, someone they can speak to, someone they can connect with, someone who they feel will listen to them and won't judge them, which is so important in the world we're in now. They get so much judgment from social media, from school, from parents, even from their peers, that if they just feel accepted and not judged, you're going to be able to connect with them in a much more meaningful way. And also bring joy into your classroom, bring hope into your classroom, bring love into your classroom, because they're desperate for connection and they're not getting enough of it. They're connected in the virtual world, but actually, we're hardwired as humans for meaningful human connection. I suppose that's why we survive as a species. And so just remembering they aren't you, they're probably doing their best. They're not connecting all the dots, and just take the time to get to know them get the time to value them. See, if they have bad behavior, it's normally because they're struggling with something, not because they want to be bad. And yeah, and I think also give them time to just discover who they are. Because we have a tendency in school to fill our children up with lots of facts and data, where actually so much of that stuff is going in. They're struggling to link to that inner piece, which is who they are inside naturally. And for me, that is a real problem for them, because that means then they're disconnected from themselves, and we need to help them to reconnect with themselves.
So beautiful. You are an ocean of wisdom, and I am the blessed one to sit with you, and our audience is enjoying this. Yes. So teenagers need good adults who can bring hope, joy, and love. And they're all looking for connections. Wow. So let us connect with ourselves so that we can help others. Hey, here's the tuning. This is the way to tune and connect to yourself. Great. So it starts with us. Now, there will be some times when Emer is upset. Emer is sad, frustrated. So what do you do to bounce back, to reconnect with yourself?
Okay. So I think what's really important, even before I answer that, is to be aware of the effect of the pandemic on so many adults. Research shows that our stress levels have gone through the roof. And as a result of that, we will bring that to the party. So for me as an adult, I have a routine where I will do some meditation in the morning. I will exercise because I know that this is really important. It helps ground us. I go into gratitude mode, which I think is really important, because we know that actually releases chemicals in our brain that actually make us feel better. And I have a lovely exercise that I give to a lot of my clients, which is something called the Diary of Joy.
Wow.
And what you do every day when you wake up, you start to really notice the things that are bringing you joy in your life. And it can be the smallest thing. It can be the sound of a child's laughter. It can be the smell of the coffee or the tea. It can just seeing something beautiful in nature. And it's about tuning into all our senses. And what we do is, as soon as we notice one of those moments of joy, we write it down. You can put it in your iPhone, or you can carry a diary around with you. And what you do then is, at the end of the day, you look at your moments of joy and you decide which ones are really resonating the most with you. And the objective is that you do this over 2 weeks, because what you're trying to do is reprogram your brain, because our brains are really, well, they're like untrained puppies most of the time. Okay, they want to go and do exactly what they want, but we've got to learn to manage them, because we're in control of them. They're not in control of us. And if we can create new neural pathways of thinking, because our brains love habit, they like to conserve energy. And if we can consider new ways of thinking and focusing on things that bring us joy, then our brain will be trained to do that. So for example, if you want to buy a new car and you know your model and the type and the color, you will notice that all of a sudden you'll start to notice more of those cars in your world than you ever noticed before, because there's so much data out there. So we have to train the brain on which data we want to select. And so what we do after 2 weeks is that you continue to look for these moments of joy. And that then helps us to, because it's a bit like plasticine, it helps us to reprogram our brain. And who doesn't want more joy in their lives? I think that's really important. It's about breathing. It's about noticing what's good. It's about focusing on the outcome that we want, which is a more joyful one, rather than creating drama. And being aware when you're stressed and having tools to work with that are really important.
We love your tools, and now we are going to practice all of it, from gratitude to exercising and the lovely diary of joy. And I also like the analogy of brain like the untrained puppies. So let us take them where we want to take them, based on
Mhm,
the
mhm,
outcome we want. And
mhm.
only joy, no drama.
No
Great.
drama. Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Great.
And,
Great.
and I think also being really aware, Sonny, is that, you know, our beliefs sometimes serve us well and sometimes they don't. And
Yeah.
being aware of when that is. Because an event can happen and one person will have a belief around it and it won't bother them at all. And then another person, it will trigger something. And it's just going, I have a choice within that moment of being triggered and becoming great, creating that self-awareness around that. I have a choice to create this outcome, or I have a choice to create that outcome. And I also think it's really important with our teenagers when we do lose it, because they can press buttons. Whoa, they're exploring to see what they can get away with when they go out into the big world. They're fine tuning their skills before they leave the nest.
Yeah.
We should be grown up enough to be able to say we're sorry when we get it wrong.
True. It's good to apologize to strengthen the connection. After all, I don't know it all. I'm also a learner.
Mm, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Um,
Yes.
and then yeah, so I don't know if you have
Please,
another
please.
question for me.
No, please, no, please go ahead. You wanted to share something.
I was just going to say that I actually think for a lot of young people right now in the world we live in, because it is so noisy, because they feel overwhelmed, a lot of them don't value who they are. They can have low self-esteem. They even just trying to figure out what job they might like to do. There's so much data, they don't know how to filter it. I spent, you know, four years of my life, because I think coaching is so powerful and it shouldn't be just reserved for adults or people in business. I really thought when I did my retrained as a coach, I did a master's at Henley Business School in part of Reading University. And I really thought at the end of it, why am I only learning this stuff now? Why didn't I learn this when I was younger? And that started me on my journey of being a specialist coach for young people and creating a tool with some amazing other psychologists and coaches, which is a digital tool which enables young people to really understand how they like to think, how they like to manage their emotions, how they prefer to engage with others, because we all have our unique styles. What motivates you? And then from that research, I discovered, with thousands of hours spent with young people, there's 6 universal things they say they want help with. So if you're a parent or a teacher out there, listen to these. They want to know more about who they are and how they can build more strengths and skills. They're primed for learning. So, you know, give them help with that stuff and they're going to love it. They also want more help with their learning, because a lot of young people struggle with it. They want to know how to manage stress better, because prefrontal cortex ain't working very well. And so for me, that was about taking lots of tools from psychology and coaching and incorporating this into the Q Pathfinder. So they had those tools, but also having the personalized information there about how they react to stress. They also want to know how to build confidence. They want to know what they're going to do as a job. So that gives a sense of purpose, how they can integrate themselves into the community. And then also they want to know how can they get on with people better? Because the one thing, Sonny, is that the quality of our relationships is the most important factor to impact our mental and physical health. And we have to teach them how to do that. And basically what Q does is it looks at their predisposed behaviors. They do a 30-minute Q&A, looks at their predisposed behaviors, which is who I am on the inside, what it feels to be me, as opposed to personality is who I'm deciding to be today on the outside. And as a result of that, we can personalize all that information and give them really insightful information that's unique to them in terms of stress, confidence, learning, careers, people, and about them. And so if that's my only contribution to society, then there we go. But I just think it's so needed now.
Yes. With all the information overload, not knowing what to do in the career, how to win relationships, and how to contribute and fit a nice space for myself. You have helped a lot. And it's a great contribution. Now, quick tips, 2 tips for teenagers. What are those 2 life mantras you want to give? Yes,
2
teenagers,
tips
listen to
for
me.
teenagers. My most important tips for teenagers is value yourself. Really value yourself, because you are complete. You don't need anyone else to give you validation. And as soon as you can find that inner love, you don't need it from anyone else. And stay true to your heart is really important to me. Really stay true to your heart. And for me, though, the key bit is developing the self-awareness, which is what that Q tool does. And I'm not here just trying to push Q. I just know how important it is because when you have that inner sense and that inner knowing and that foundation of knowing, then when things happen, you can start to understand, oh, that's why that happens. That's why I react that way. And then the other fundamental, really important thing, and I've given you more than 2 now, is if you know yourself, you can get to know other people. And you've got to learn who other people are, understand they don't see the world in exactly the same way that you do. Every single one of us are unique. In fact, the chances of you having the same predisposed behavior as anyone else is 1 in a quintillion, which is a billion, which is more than there are people on the planet. So we're all different.
No chance at all.
No.
That there is no other Emer, there is no other Sunny. So be happy. There is no other you.
And neither you. There's no other you either.
Yes.
And just, so stand your ground. Don't follow other people. Follow your heart. Because why would you follow someone else?
Yes. So beautiful. So now your courses are available. Is it available only for UK or it is available for anyone on the planet? Parents, teachers who want to upgrade themselves like you, contribute to the society.
Okay, so the Q Pathfinder is a digital tool, so it's available online, and it's something that anyone can, get. I use it all the time in my coaching, but it's available for anybody. So if I was a parent and I really wanted to help my teenager understand who they were, give them that foundation of knowing, you think how much money people spend on their kids, and most of it's not worth spending on all sorts of stuff they don't need. There's a reason why Know Yourself has been around for centuries and why the greatest philosophers say it's so important. And this is a brilliant tool in which to do that. So that's online. It's available online. I don't know if you share stuff afterwards. I can give you links if you want.
Sure, please.
The other thing that I have available and I've created specifically for parents is because I think they're really challenged in the world we are in now. And it's free for parents. It's a free masterclass for parents so that they can learn to connect in a more meaningful way with their teenager. So it could be used by a teacher, it could be used by a parent, or even another professional working with young people. Now, it's not for the faint-hearted because it's over 2 hours, this masterclass. But I can tell you, I have learned a lot on my journey, and I have tried to be as generous as possible to make sure that families out there can create that good adult that teenagers need. And adults need it as much as the teenagers, because the quality of our relationships comes from within us. And so that's available too. And I can give you the link details for that if you want to
all
do
links
that. So anyone can have that.
Yes. All
anyone.
Yeah.
And then obviously I offer coaching services too. And over time, I will be building more what I call the 7Q Teen Reconnect formula, which is what I use in my coaching. And so I'm focused on creating new modules so they can be automated so that families can access them all over the world. And I'm working on that at the moment. So that's what I'm doing.
Yes, and I'm sure it's going to benefit millions of people, leaders,
Well, when
coaches,
I dream,
professionals. Yes,
when I dream, that's where I'm going, because I think
yes,
as a world, we need to connect more. And the young people are our future. And, you know, our earth needs more love too.
yes.
And we absolutely need to have a healthy generation to take over a lot of the problems we need on the planet. And that comes from connection. It comes from acceptance. It comes from not judging. It comes from tuning into those higher vibrations of joy and love, and moving away from fear, because there's so much of it around, and media doesn't help with that.
True. So, lots to learn from you. You are an ocean and you are generous too. Thank you so much for the gift of your time and wisdom. I'm the luckiest one. I got a lot. Thank you so much.
I'm so blessed that you contacted me, and I feel very grateful. And it's been a joy, because you just have joy written all over your face, which is just a beautiful thing.
Thank you so much. And I wish you the best. And I want you to touch millions of lives and be the sunshine that you are. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.